Hello, my name is Sebastian Denis, and today we'll check what this NativeScript thing is. We'll have a short presentation, and then we'll build an app. It will be simple Bitcoin wallet. It will be very basic app, so I invite you to code with me. We'll use only a web browser, so you don't need to have anything installed. So I think we can go now. Super fast about me. I started programming at the age of 10. When I bought my first computer, it was Commodore 64. And I mastered a programming language called BASIC then. I work as a full-stack Java developer and database specialist in Orange, Polska. But now I am on parental leave until 2019, so I have some free time to do things like this today. I have some experience in Java and SQL. I started learning Angular quite late, in 2016. Then I wanted to switch to something different than Java. I chose Angular mainly because of TypeScript. It was easier for me to switch from Java to TypeScript than from Java to JavaScript. And recently I just started GDG Radzimin, and we are preparing first event. This is my first touch talk, and I am a NativeScript beginner, so please be understanding. And let's go. What is NativeScript? NativeScript is a framework which you can use to build truly native apps for iOS and Android using Angular or TypeScript or plain JavaScript. Also, you can use Vue. NativeScript apps use JavaScript virtual machine to run on Android and iOS devices. For Android, it is V8, and for JavaScript core, it is iOS. NativeScript apps don't use WebView, so you don't have HTML or divs, but you have HTML-like syntax, and you have CSS support, exactly this emulation. So you can use classes, inline styles, or animations. It gives you native performance, and this framework is free and open source, and is backed by big and rich company. So I think it is stable. When you start your journey with NativeScript, the NativeScript team gives you nice tools to use. First one is Playground. It is a web IDE, and you don't need anything than a web browser to make an app. With the Playground, you have predefined components that you can drag and drop, and IDE will create sample code for you. Setup is very easy, and this tool is great for experimenting and for learning. And we are going to use this tool today, so you will see how it works. Next tool is Sidekick. It is NativeScript CLI GUI. It provides for you starter templates, and I think one of the best features is cloud build. So you can build your app into Android and iOS device without any dependencies, especially if you have a Windows machine. It's hard to build iOS app, and it helps you with debugging with Chrome DevTools. And next one is Visual Studio Code plugin. So when you code using your IDE, you can download this plugin, and it accelerates NativeScript development workflow with live reloading, debugging, and integration with device emulators. You also have a market for plugins, so every time you need something that that core NativeScript doesn't provide, you go to market and you can search for plugins, templates, or code samples. Next one is NativeScript UI, ready for use and free components like charts, graphs, calendars, etc. Documentation. You have also access to the great documentation at docs.nativescript.org site. So enough talking. Let's build our app. It will be a simple Bitcoin wallet. We'll use some common components like buttons, list, inputs, images, and we'll check how CSS and animations work in NativeScript. We'll also use some plugins, gauge chart and local storage to store our data on our devices. And we'll use blockchain.info API to retrieve balance for our Bitcoin addresses. So let's switch to the playground. You need to register with your Google or other account, and you can start new project here. We'll start NativeScript with Angular today. To see our results, to upload our apps to our devices, we need also 2 apps installed. We need NativeScript Playground and NativeScript Preview. So go to your App Store and search for NativeScript Preview and NativeScript Playground. You have to install these 2 apps. Okay. So let's check our first app. Let's do something simple first. Let's change title for action bar. Simple Bitcoin wallet. Also change project name. And remove this content. And we'll drag and drop our first component. It will be navigation tabs, tab view, search for tab view, and drag and drop here. Let's change. We'll have in our app we'll have 3 tabs. First one will be dashboard with gauge chart. Next one will be addresses with the list of our addresses, and last one will be about. So let's create those tabs. And copy and paste. Last one, about. Let's change height to 100%. And now we can save and check how it looks. We need to get the QR code and scan it using our NativeScript Playground app. Okay. Have to wait a while until we see our app. Yeah, and it's great. So we have tabs for navigation. And check. Well, okay. So we are good to go. We can now go to and do something more advanced. Let's switch back to NativeScript Playground. And first we'll create a service that will manage our app state. So we'll add here new folder. We'll call it services. And we'll add here new TypeScript file. Call it btc.service.ts. First, we'll create an interface for our address. So let's do it. We need to store a balance for our address with the number, and we need to store address itself. It will be string, and let's create our service. And use decorator injectable. We have to import it. From at Angular core. Let's make constructor. And for our app state, we need two properties. First one will hold total amount of our bitcoins. We'll use behavior subject. Type number and initial value 0. We need to import behavior subject from RxJS. Okay. Second property will be addresses. It will be array of our Bitcoin addresses. We also use behavior subject. Type of BTC address array with initial value empty array. Okay. I'll close it for now. We need also some methods, so let's generate them. We need method to get total amount. Total amount to return observable type number. We'll provide content later. And second one, get addresses. will also return observables. And we need one method to add our addresses to the addresses array. So we'll call it add_address, and for input we'll take etc address, return void. We need one method to remove address from our array. Okay. And we need method to update our balance. This method will connect to the blockchain info API and retrieve balance for our address. And we need one method to recalculate total amount of our bitcoins. And we need two more methods, one for loading data from our storage and one for saving. We'll leave it empty now for now. Let's go to the first method. So we'll return total amount and as observable. We need to import observable from array.js. And the same for get addresses. Have to change this one. etc address. And for add address, we'll add new address to our addresses array. So we need to access to our array and then push our address. Then we need to update the balance for this address and save data. For removing addresses from our array, we will use filter. Filter. We'll return everything that's where the address is different than we provide. Okay, so we have new array here, and we need to emit this new array. And then recalculate total amount of our bitcoins and save. Okay, let's go to update balance. We'll need to inject HTTP client constructor. We need to import it from Angular. Okay. So now we can use this HTTP client to retrieve our balance for our addresses. We'll use blockchain.info API. So let's do this. We'll use get function and to provide endpoint. Q address, and we'll add our address. This API returns plain text, so we need to add some more properties. We need to add response type text. Okay, and now we can subscribe. We'll get response, it will be string. So now when we have a response, it is a string. Now we can update balance. We need to convert string to number, so we'll use parse integer. Response. And we need to divide by 100 minus. Because 1 Bitcoin is 100 million Satoshi. Blockchain API returns values in Satoshi, so we need to divide them. And last, we need to call recalculate total. So let's go to recalculate total. We'll sum our balance for each address. So we need to access to our array. And we need only balance. And we'll use reduce function. We'll add only and provide default value 0. And now we need to emit this new total amount. Okay. So I think it's okay now. For load and save data will filled later. One more thing we need to do is to add our service to app module. So let's add providers. Let's add all our Bitcoin service. We need to import it. Yes. So this is B2C. So, okay, and we need also to add one more module because NativeScript wraps HTTP client module, so we need to import it. It will be NativeScript HTTP client module. Need to import it also. From NativeScript Angular HTTP client. Typo. NativeScript HTTP client. Okay. Client. Have a typo. Okay, that's okay. Now it's okay. We have to change to client. Okay. So let's save and check. Everything should work now. It's okay. So now we can go and do some things in our components. So let's create 3 components, each one for each tab. Add component. First one, dashboard. Second one, addresses. And the last one, about. Okay. You can see that we have files here. We need to import these components. So let's go to our home module. And inside declaration array, we need to add them. We need to import them also. Import. Okay. Let's copy this and paste. Okay. Second one is addresses. And the last one is about. Okay. So now we can, in our home component HTML file, we can use these components. So remove the label and put our component here. Okay. And about component. Okay, to see any results, we need to type something inside our components. For dashboard, please remove action bar and put label here. You use labels when you want to type text. Okay, and we'll copy this one. And the same for addresses component HTML file. Remove action bar and paste label here. And also for about component HTML, remove action bar and paste label. Okay, now we can check. Okay, we see dashboard, addresses, and about. So everything is okay. So now we can work on our components. First one will be addresses. Let's go to addresses component HTML. Okay. We can make some place here and we'll put here text field components. Okay. Also we need button and one label. Okay. Let's switch to addresses component.ts file and can change on button tab to on add and put it here. We can change it to new address, and we need access to our Bitcoin addresses array. So let's create property. It will be observable. Type Bitcoin address array. We need to import it. Observable from RxJS. And it is address from our service. Okay. We can also import our service and inject it. Okay. Now we can fill on that method. So we have new address. We can call our service and call addAddress function. We need to put an object here. So balance will be 0 and address will be this new address. Okay, and we need to reset this new address. Okay. Can also add onRemove method. And we call also our service and call remove address function. Okay. Let's go back to the addresses component HTML file, and here we need to change it to new addresses, new address. Change the hint to etc address here. Change the text for our button to add, and we'll call onAdd method and change the label to total etc. And here we need also access to our total amount of our bitcoins. So let's go back to the addresses component TS and add this property. Observable type number, and we need to assign values to these properties. So these addresses this BTC get addresses, and the same for total amount. Total amount. Okay. Let's go back to our HTML file. Now we can use total amount observable with async pipe. Okay. Okay. And last thing, we need to add our list. So let's remove this content. And search for list view and drag and drop it here. So ID generate code for us. So let's change sample code to our properties, change countries to addresses. Let's remove item tab, change height to 100%. We need also to change country and let it be A. And remove this image and put the address of our Bitcoin address. Okay. Let's remove this content style. And now we can check if everything is okay. So let's save. Okay, let's go to addresses tab. Let's type something and add. As you can see, it works. So we can make it a little nicer. So we can wrap it with stack layout. You can think about stack layouts like this is a div, so you can style it. We'll use styles. So we add padding with 50 pixels and 40 pixels. We also add style here. We'll change font size to 14 pixels. We'll also add additional classes to our button. Button primary. Okay, and we'll style this label too. You can use syntax like this, style, or you can add a property. So, for example, for font weight, bold. Okay, and let's save it. Check it now. Looks nicer. Okay, and now here in the list we'll show our address and our balance for this address. So let's create another layout. It will be flexbox layout with flex direction column. Okay. We'll put this label inside this new flex layout. And we need to add another label with balance. Okay. We can remove this class. And we can change font size 13 pixels. And here we'll add a button. This button will delete item from the list. Add it. We'll change the text for this button to $, and change method on the remove. Insert our Bitcoin address. We'll add class button and change font size to 12 pixels. Okay, so now we can save. Let's go to our app and we'll see how it looks now. Okay. Let's go to addresses tab, add something, and we see that we have our new address added to the list. Okay, Let's change something. Let's go to Flexbox layout and add more properties. Justify content. We set it to space to win and align items to center. Okay. Action. Okay. Okay, I think we can remove this one. Okay. And we can check it now. Okay, now it looks better. So if you have any bitcoins, you can prepare your addresses and use it here. I will go to Bitcoin charity site, Bitcoin for charity, and we have a Bitcoin charity list, and we can go to the last one and copy it. Let's go to our playground and go to our component.ts file. We see sample code, so we need to remove it. Okay. And we can paste our address here. So we'll check if everything is okay. Save. And switch to our app. Okay, let's go to Addresses tab. We have to wait for a while, okay. And we see our address. Let's add it. And we see that we receive balance for our address. And everything is updated. I think we can add one more method to short our address. So let's do this. In addresses component.ts file, let's add get short address. It will return string. It will convert our address to short string. So we'll use substring function. We need only first 10 chars, and then we'll add 3 dots, and we need chars from 20, from char number 20, okay, and let's use this function. We'll put it here. Okay. Let's save. Go to our app. Okay, let's go to Addresses tab. Now we need to wait, okay. Let's add it. and now it looks better. So now we can go to dashboard component HTML file and we'll add a gauge chart. So we can now remove this one. Okay, and that's another stack layout. If okay, will show inside this component will show our total amount of our bitcoins. So let's go to dashboard component.ts file, create property amount. It will be observable number. We will also inject our service. Okay, let's import it. The service from services folder and btc.service. And import observable from rxjs. Okay. Now we can assign value to our property from our service. Get total amount. Okay, so we now have our total amount of bitcoins and we can use it in view. So if we have any bitcoins, we'll show this stack layout, and if not, we'll show this template. We'll call it no BTC. Okay. With async pipe and save it as total as no BTC. So if we have some bitcoins, we'll see gauge chart and we'll put it here. But if not, we'll show label with text no bitcoins. With font size, I think 28 pixels. And text alignment to center. Label, okay. So let's add gauge chart. We need to search for it. Here we have charts and gauge chart. Okay. First change this to %, 50%. We can make it simple. Let's remove this radial bar indicator and the last one. Okay. Let's remove these attributes. Okay. Can change label count to 2. Change minimum value from 0 and to 6. We'll change it later. For now, it can be 6. Now we can use our total value. Okay. Let's also add 2 labels. First one will show total amount of our bitcoins. We'll use number type to format it. Set font size to 6 pixels and align it center. Okay. Let's add another label. Only with BTC text with smaller font, maybe 26. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to our dashboard component TS file. We can remove this property. Okay. And now I think we can save everything and check our app. Let's go. You should see no bitcoins in tab 1. Okay. You see, and let's go to addresses. Let's add our address. And I think it will retrieve. We need to wait a while, so can try it again. Let's reload our app. Change something, save, and reload. Something is wrong here. It was working now. Let's do. Let's for now change. Comment this line and save it again. I think everything should work because we didn't change anything here. Let's go to addresses. I think we have some problems with blockchain API. Okay, let's check it. I'll copy this address, go to blockchain info page. Okay. Let's Let's use our address. Okay. Let's copy it and check if everything is okay with the API. Yeah, API works. So let's try again. Let's try again. Definitely something doesn't work. Okay, so leave it for now, and let's go to About component. Okay, here we can put an image here and do some animation. So we'll check how animations work for NativeScript. Okay. Okay. So we can drag and drop image here. Oh, here's it. Okay. Not here. Okay. We can change it to Angular Warsaw logo. Okay. Okay. Can use this one. And paste it here. Okay. Let's create some labels also. We need three. First one with text Angular Warsaw 21. We can add styles. Color red. And font size may be 18 pixels. And font weight bold. Okay. Here we put date. Okay. And style it also. This time using color attribute. Right. Let's set font size to 12 pixels. Only 13 pixels. And we can center it. Can center also this one. Okay. Center. And last one, we'll add text. My first NativeScript app. Okay. We'll set font size to 16 pixels and also center it. Okay. And we can add a button which will trigger our animation. Change text to animate. change method to onAnimate. Okay. We can add class button primary. Okay. And now let's go to our about component.ts. Rename this method to onAnimate. Let's put it here. Animate. Okay. And now we can check how it looks now. Let's go to About tab. And we can see Angular Warsaw logo. It's too big, I think. So let's add some class. myimg, and go to About component CSS file. Add class definition. My image. Okay. We'll add with 40%. Have auto. We also add some margin. .50 pixels. And margin bottom also 50 pixels. We can also add one helper class. It will be margin with margin top 20 pixels, with margin bottom also 20 pixels. Okay, so now let's add these classes. We have class myImage, and we can add margin here, and we can add it margin also here. So let's save and check. Okay. It should look better now. So we have a typo. Okay, let's save it again. Okay, and now looks better. Okay. So now we can add animation. Let's go to our about component.css file, and NativeScript uses CSS animation API. So let's create animation. First one for our image. we'll scale it to, we'll make it smaller. Zero 0.7 maybe, okay, and make it normal again, okay. And let's add another animation for text. We'll make it bigger. Scale it to 1.2 maybe. Okay, we need to add 2 more classes for image. With animation name anim1 and animation duration 2 seconds, and 1 class for txt anim with animation name anim2, animation duration anim 2 seconds. Okay, and now we can use these classes. So let's go to component HTML file. Let's add img anim. Okay. Here and here. For this label, we'll add class txt anim. Okay. We need also a switch to trigger our animation. So let's add inside about component.ts. It will be boolean, and inside on animate, let's change it. Let's switch it. Okay. So go back to our about component.html file, and now we can use ng class. With anim1. And now we can use our trigger to add this class, and also need to put it here with anim2. Okay, so let's go back to our dashboard component. I know where we have a typo, so we need to delete this X. I did, okay. And now it should work. Okay, so let's save. Okay. Let's go to our addresses on our app. Okay, let's add one. Now we can see some bitcoins, and here we can see bitcoins that we have 0.488 bitcoins, but we don't see gauge chart. Let's check why. Okay. So everything should be okay. Total. Okay. Stock layout height 50%. Non BTC. Value. Articles. Offset levels count. Minimum, maximum. Location. It should work now. Let's save it again. Let's go to our app. No bitcoins, it is okay. Let's go to addresses. Let's add one. Okay. We see 0.488. Something is missing here, I think. Okay. So something is wrong here. Let's change it to pixels and let's check now. Oh, now we can see our chart. Okay, so the problem was with height. Okay, I know why. Because here we use scroll view. We need to change it to stack layout. Okay, and now we can use 50%. Let's save and check. And we need to close also this stack layout. Okay, let's save it again. Okay, let's go to our app. No bitcoins. Okay, add address. We have some bitcoins, and now it looks better. What we can do, we can add some margin here. We will add style here. Margin top 40 pixels and margin bottom maybe 20 pixels. And for gauge chart, we need to provide maximum. For now it's 6, but we'll make this. We'll change this to and we'll calculate it automatically. So every time we have some bitcoins, for example, 1 bitcoin, the max value will be 10, and if we have 0.5 bitcoins, max value will be 1 bitcoin. So it will motivate us to buy more bitcoins. So Let's go to dashboard component.ts file and add a new method, get max value with number input, and it will return number. We'll make it simple, so if is less than 1, return 1, else if is less than 10, return 10, and we can we use v, okay, and we can copy this and paste a couple times. So change it to 100, and here change to 1000, and else we can return some big number, for example. Okay, and now we can use this function. We can use it here. Get max value with total as an input. We can copy this because we have 3 indicators, so we need to also add something like this here, 0.3. It looks example to add it here inside. Okay. Okay. Here. Add it. Change it to 66. And for last one, it will be from 0.66 to our maximum. Okay, so let's save and check it now. We have to wait for our app to load, and no bitcoins. Let's add some. Okay, we have bitcoins, and now it's okay. At maximum value 1, we can check it if we add the same address again. Now we have 1.46 bitcoins. Let's go to dashboard, and now we can see that we have max value 10. So everything works fine. Last thing we can add to our app is a feature that we can save and load our data to local storage. So let's go back to our Bitcoin service. And now we can add some code here. Let's fill the save function first. First, we need to add some plugin. It will be NativeScript local storage plugin in Playground. We can add plugins by clicking on Add button and add npm package. We have to search for NativeScript local storage. Okay, yes, this one, and add it to our project. You can see we have new folder with our files. And now we need to go to app module and import it using require. NativeScript local storage. And now we can use, in our service, we can use local storage. So let's go to local storage. And for saving, we set item. It will save our data in a key value pairs. So our key will be BTC, and our value will be string. We'll create the string from our array. Alright, so get value. We need only addresses. So and we'll use the string function. So our array of addresses will be converted to string, delimited by comma, and save it in local storage. So save function is okay now. Now we can go to load function. Here's we need to retrieve from our local storage. So we use get item with key BTC. And if we have some items here, we have something here, we can split an array. We can split it and put it in our array. Split with comma. Okay. And for each element in this array, for each address, basically, this string, we can add it to our Bitcoin array, like here, with balance 0, and address. Okay. Okay. So, and now we will go to our app component.ts file. And maybe we can use our home component.ts file. Okay, here. And inject our service here also. We need to import it. Okay. Inside on init, we'll call BTC load method. So every time our app starts, we'll load our addresses from local storage. So let's check. Let's check. Let's go to our app. Wait for loading. Okay, let's go to our addresses. Let's add one address. Okay. Now we can force or reload the app. So make some changes, save everything again. Our app will reload. Now we can see that after our app was reloaded, we still have our address and bitcoins. So local storage works great. Okay, I think we have complete application. So we can switch to our presentation. Okay, so what next? Playground is great for training and experimenting, but for real development, I think you need to install some tools on your local machine. So next steps probably will be run npm command to install NativeScript globally, install Sidekick and Visual Studio Code plugin, install all dependencies for Android and iOS, then run TNS Doctor to check if everything is okay with your configuration. If it is okay, you can start new app using Sidekick. You can choose any predefined template, and then you can code with your favorite IDE, for example, Visual Studio Code. And when you want to run an app on your device, you type run TNS. You type TNS run Android or TNS run iOS command, and it will build and upload app to your device. So if you have any questions or any problems with NativeScript, you can contact me using Twitter or email. And thank you very much for the time. And we did a great app, I think. I think we can still improve this app, and so I invite you to contribute in the project. I will upload code to GitHub and put the link in a meetup page so you can check it every time you want. So thank you very much and goodbye.